3 interview hosts. Not my lucky day. The difference between your decision and ours is experience. But you don't have to rely on that. I just do what he says. He's not always in such a good mood. Oh, I get it. What you're really asking is, will you please beat the shit out of me, Kanji? Get back, punk.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the 26th episode of the Codec. We are joined today by Matt Mercer. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well. How about you guys?
We're all doing fantastic. We're all happy to finally be here back together for our first voice actor interview of the month. Joined, as always, by KorruptRonin.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Ronin here, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Codec. It is great to finally have the three main stars back on the show, of course, and it's been a while. Also, a great pleasure to have you here as well, Matt. Looking forward to talking to you about some of the great work you've done in the past and recently as well. So thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for the invitation.
No problem. And Yong, everybody.
What's up, everybody? It's Yong here, and welcome to another awesome interview here at the Codec. This time we have Matt Mercer. Dude, you're in so much stuff. It was like overwhelming to IMDb.com, bam, just everywhere. Yeah. But it's great to have you here.
I'm intent to make sure that you guys cannot escape me.
Good, no, job well done. We're happy to have you here. Leon is one of my favorite characters in gaming. He's my favorite Resident Evil character, and it's finally good to talk to the man behind the voice. Thank you for joining us today.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we are going to get this interview kicked off. Ronin, you've got the first question today, buddy. Go ahead.
All right. So based on the amount of work you've done, a lot of people are essentially calling you the next Troy Baker or Nolan North of voice acting. So for the viewers that may not be aware, can you tell us a little bit about your career and yourself? You know, just who is Matt Mercer?
That's an interesting question. Matthew Mercer is me. I am a huge nerd. I started my career doing a lot of community theater, a lot of stage work. I initially was going to be an illustrator, but then began to train as an actor on the side. Worked for a number of years in game development. And then decided to pursue the career of an actor, much more lucrative career, not knowing where your next paycheck's going to come from in your tiny one-bedroom studio apartment and being off ramen. But yeah, I've been doing this professionally for almost 9 years now. Oh, wow. And I've had the pleasure of working on a lot of wonderful projects with a lot of wonderful people, both on the dev side and the actor side. And if I can find some wood to knock on, let's hope that lasts.
Yeah, right.
There we go.
If I may ask, what theater productions have you been in? Because I'm a huge theater guy. I do a lot of theater, and I always love to know what fellow actors have been in.
He actually has one premiering today. That's after the show.
Opening night tonight. Yeah, great.
Oh man, I missed this stage a lot. I haven't done any stage work for close to 6-7 years because just the focus on the career. You have to have a lot of free time and everything. But like I did a lot of musical theater, a lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein productions, South Pacific, Carousel, Oklahoma, which after 3 of those I was kind of done with Rodgers and Hammerstein. I did The Crucible. I did Three Musketeers.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
I did my last big production was I did Jekyll and Hyde.
Oh, really? The musical?
Arts Plaza. The musical Jekyll and Hyde as Jekyll and Hyde, and that was.
Oh, that's awesome!
Nice.
That is one of my favorite just musicals of all time.
Yeah.
So it was you just playing Jekyll and Hyde, like both characters, right? Because I know some productions they do
both sides.
Man, Confrontation. That is an amazing song. But anyway,
Confrontation.
Nice. Yeah, that is the best.
And I live inside you forever. No,
with Satan himself. Anyway, all right.
Wow, that's awesome. I that's one of the few plays that I've actually gone out and seen. That I love that one as well. So cool. That's awesome. That we tend to find that it's a hit or miss, but we see a lot of voice actors that have done theater and stuff as well. I think that kind of helps with getting into characters and stuff like that.
Absolutely. But very much so. Theater as a training medium, the skill sets overlap really easily with voiceover, and the fact that you have, in some cases, very little to go off of. You have to be able to work your voice in such a way where you can still emote to the back row of an audience, but not to the point where you lose the front row. It's this very interesting consciousness about your voice and your posture and your breathing that just transitions really well into the booth. And that's why a lot of people that are trained as on-camera actors sometimes have a hard time transitioning into voiceover, because it's a whole different training skill set.
Right. Very cool.
Very cool.
Well, we're definitely excited to learn some more about that. But Yong, you have our next question.
Yes. So, as I mentioned before, my favorite Resident Evil character is Leon S. Kennedy, and I'm curious as to how you approached the role of Leon, who has been played by a couple of other characters prior to yourself. Did you take influences from these previous actors, or did you try to make him your own?
I'd say both, honestly. I mean, Leon, I was a fan of the franchise in the beginning. Before I was an actor, I was a gamer, and I played through all the games, and Leon was definitely my favorite character going forward. Resident Evil 4 especially being kind of the breakout for me. It was the reason I bought a GameCube. Well, that and Metroid Prime. But
yes, nice.
But yeah, when I had the opportunity to read for it and ended up booking it, it was a combination of both taking inspiration from like Paul Mercier, who did such a fantastic job of kind of establishing the character, that kind of cocksure attitude, his kind of, never quite getting totally frayed persona, and his kind of quirky one-liners. Like, there's so many aspects of that character that made him Leon that we all know and love. And so I wanted to still carry that over with some of the voice print where it wouldn't be too jarring of a transition, but still take aspects that made it my own, made it, still my own unique performance, without just being a mimic, and also to instill the things that have changed since the previous game. In 4, he was still kind of young and like, I got this. In 6, and he's a little more browbeaten, a little more world wearied, and older, darker Leon. And then in Damnation, the CG film, I had the opportunity to kind of bridge that gap and play that transition. So it was really
awesome.
That's very
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
I think. The performances in Resident Evil 6, I thought, were really, really good.
Absolutely.
Just from all accounts, and yourself in particular, I really liked your interpretation of Leon. So just awesome job on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I haven't got to see the CG film. I want to go check that out now.
Check those out.
I didn't even know that they had made one. That's very, very cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to look at that.
I think they made 2, but I think you just did Damnation, and then there was one played by another actor, I think. But I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, there were. I forgot what the other one was called, though, besides Damnation. Yeah,
it was Degeneration, I think, and that was Paul previously on, and then Damnation.
Right.
Okay, very cool. Well, my next question is it's something I guess that you're working on now, so I don't know how much you can talk about it, but I'm curious about your role in this new upcoming Telltale game, the Minecraft story. Can you tell us a little bit about that particular character, and how was it working with Telltale, who obviously have great storytelling capability in that studio?
Oh, yeah. I had the pleasure of working with them for a bit on the Game of Thrones game they put out last year, and that was a pleasure already. If any of you have played that, you've probably let my character die pretty early in, and that's okay. My character's kind of a dick.
I haven't made. I made it all the way to I believe it's the Red Wedding part, so I haven't progressed very far, and I don't know if yours is.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know if you're
for that. When you start, he's the other squire along with you.
Okay.
That's kind of giving you shit. His name's Bowen. And I have a couple other characters throughout the
game. You're dead.
But yeah. See? Told you. But yeah, and in the Telltale game from Minecraft, first and foremost, I've been a Minecraft fan and been playing it since alpha. I was one of the early adopters when it first came out. We had a private server with a bunch of friends online where we made crazy things, and I actually did an entire replica of the Castle Ravenloft from the old Dungeons & Dragons module in Minecraft back then. It's really cool.
That's something we're going to talk about later. You're a big D&D fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. But yeah, so I was so excited to even be part of something Minecraft related. Me and my girlfriend still play it when we have days off. Just the two of us. We have our own private server between the two of us where we just build and cultivate a village and farm stuff.
True romance.
Exactly. So I was super excited to be a part of it, and then working with the director Chris Brown, she's a fantastic director, and I worked with her for a few projects before this, and just the cast was phenomenal, and the fact that they're able to take the level of storytelling that Telltale's known for and bring it to a broader audience, and still have its impactful, emotional and stress beats, but be a little more lighthearted than, let's say, Walking Dead. was a cool change of pace. So I play Aiden in this first episode, who's a member of this gang called the Ocelots, and he's really honestly one of the first antagonists you encounter. Then I play a character named Otis, who's a butcher who they both kind of show up repeatedly throughout the series.
Okay.
And then I'm smattering of other characters throughout the world. I'm also one of the utility players that kind of populates the Minecraft story modes universe. So.
Which again, that's another kind of thing we'll have to talk about a little later. Is that you play a lot of different characters in a lot of different games, not just main roles, but you do a lot of sub roles as well, which is I think going to be interesting to talk about with your range of voice. So. To wrap that question up, would you say that your role in this particular game, the Minecraft story game, is it like an impactful role? Are we going to get to see you more throughout the series, or is this maybe just a kind of one of in the sequence?
As far as I know, I mean, depending on the decisions you make, some characters show up later or not, and there are. It's definitely one of those games where you play through multiple times because your decisions can radically alter who ends up following, who ends up surviving, who ends up becoming a certain way. So I can't say too much, but I will say that a few of my characters have opportunities to show up throughout the story depending on the choices you make.
There you go. Cool. That's good enough for us. Ronan, your next question for Matt.
All right, so touching on all these subjects of the different roles that you played throughout the industry so far, my main question to you is, how in the world do you find the time to go through all these roles at once? Like some of these roles that you've done in games or projects have been pretty close to happening at the same time. So how in the world do you manage all of
that? Painfully. Free time is not a commodity that I have these days. I'm trying to be better about that. As an actor, your livelihood is so sporadic and up in the air. You never know where your next paycheck's going to come from. So whenever work reveals itself, you're eager to say yes, but it never seems to be evened out. There's like a lull and then a glut and then a lull and a glut, and so you go from periods of stressing out that you don't have any income to stressing out that you don't have any time, and that's the life of an actor in some cases.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, that sounds sounds stressful.
It's wonderful.
The job itself must be just so worth it, just playing all these characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
It must be so fun.
It's very fulfilling for me. It's a great challenge as a performer, and because I'm such a intense geek in a lot of these games and franchises I've already been a fan of, it's very fulfilling for me, and I already go in understanding it very well. There's a lot of actors that go into the booth and the director has to be like, all right, so in this game there's a war between the Horde and the Alliance. I'm like, I got this, guys. I'm a level 100 warrior, and I was first rogue to 60 on my vanilla server when it first launched. So we'll just go into the session.
There you go. Boom. Shot. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Young, your next question for Matthew.
Yes. So another video game series that I really love is the Persona series, and you had the pleasure to play Kanji Tatsumi in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, and also Persona Q, I believe. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a bit about how you approached tackling this role, who was previously played by Troy Baker? Did you draw a lot from him? Did you try to make him your own? What was the deal with that role?
When it first began, Troy established the character so wonderfully, and it was my favorite character in the original Persona series. Same. So once again, being able to step into those shoes was very much an honor, also extremely daunting. Whenever you have a fan favorite character like that is already so well established, you're just waiting for the internet to jump out and break your neck. Yep. So I took it very seriously. I wanted to make sure that I carried enough of his essence over, and I'd say when I started, I was going for more of direct mimicry because I wanted it to be an easier transition for the fans. Mm-hmm. And as time went on, and I got to work with him more through projects on the line, I got to make him a little more my own. Mm-hmm. But I adore the character.
Yeah. No, I think you did a great job.
Fantastic.
I wouldn't be able to tell the difference if somebody said, no, that's Troy Baker. I would have been like, oh yeah, okay, that's I guess that's Troy Baker. I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. But it's I love Kanji. It's such a complex character. He seems one-dimensional starting out, and then as you get to know him, you realize, wow, there's a lot to him. And I think both Troy and yourself just brought him to life really well. So yeah, thank you for giving us this character. Yeah.
Hey, it was a very, very tough act to follow. I was happy that I could do my best with it. And it's one of those characters because he's so complex and because his arc and his journey and his conflict is not often tackled in a lot of storytelling mediums, especially in video games. And I've had since taking on the role in a few of these games, I've had fans come up to me at conventions and at events telling me how Kanji helped them get through their own period of confusion and trying to come to terms with their own understanding of their sexuality and who they were as a person. And to me, like, yeah, I love playing these roles just for my own, my own creative endeavors and my own personal well-being. But to then get feedback like that and it helps remind you that some of these characters and storytelling in general can really affect, inspire, and help people deal with their own tragedies and difficulty in life as well. And so Kanji is a very special place in my heart because he is so important to so many people for that reason.
Yeah, there's some aspects of him that I can relate to and that I have certain insecurities about, oh my God, if I show this side of me, will people think I'm weird? And Kanji sort of tackles that. And I think everyone sort of has a bit of that in them. And that to me is what makes Kanji so compelling. Like, I don't think there's many games or mediums in general who have tackled such a topic, and just love the character.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Matt. Especially on this particular show, we started doing Metal Gear, and that's a huge inspirational game for all of us as the hosts of this show. And most of our fans are Metal Gear fans, so we know exactly what you mean about storytelling influencing people and stuff like that. We got a lot of people that are fans of the show that kind of feel that same exact way. So it's cool to hear it from you as well, because we get a lot of voice actors. And we don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but a lot of the voice actors that we talk to, they're not gamers and they're not attached to the character. They treat it as a job, and that's about it. So it's cool to see the other side of that every once in a while from somebody who you might not expect it from, like you do so many different roles. You might assume that you maybe don't have such an attachment to characters, but it's really cool to hear that you do.
Yeah, I think it also helps the fact that you're into them as well. Like you're into the kind of stories that they bring about and the characters as well.
There they are.
Yeah.
Wow.
As I was saying. As I was saying.
Part of my collection. So
yeah.
Very cool.
I'd say you're pretty attached. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's just a little bit. It's a tiny bit.
So my question for you now, Matt, we kind of talked a little bit about this before we went live on the show. You did a really acclaimed RPG that just happened called Pillars of Eternity. It's got multiple awards and the fans love it and people are going crazy about it, and it's such a simple design. It's something, like I was explaining to you, it's kind of like a Baldur's Gate style of classic RPG. Your kind of slowed down turn-based type combat, but with this new improved isometric view with the amazing looking graphics, and you play the sinister voice of I believe it's the human male, correct? I think that's what I picked. So how was it working for a game like that? I'm sure there can't be too many lines to do for a game like that, but how involved were you with that particular project?
I was fairly involved. The sinister voice for your main character is one of the choices, but I also voiced two of the main party members that can join you. Adair and Aloth are both characters I voice in the game as well. So in theory, for the first few hours of the game, you could have a party of just me, which I think is fun.
Nice.
Well, I haven't made it past I just made it into the cave. I'm not sure how far you've gotten into the game, but I just started literally right before you came on, picked up the game and started playing it just to kind of let people kind of hear what you sound like. And so, I haven't met those characters yet. I'm excited to. So can you tell us a little bit about them? How far, in depth do they go? Do they have a lot of lines? And how was it working with, a game that kind of branches out from the normal nowadays? You never see a game like this, pop up. This is a once in a very few couple years kind of thing that happens, and people are loving it. What can you tell us about it?
Well, it was a huge honor. I grew up on the isometric RPGs, like from the original Fallout. It's the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, all the expansions. Planescape Torment is still one of my favorite games of all time. So I love that genre. And so when the Kickstarter went up for this, I was one of the backers before I was even involved as a performer. So when the audition sides went out, I was like, oh,
Right?
I know what this is. I know what this is. So going in was great. And Obsidian, I'd worked with before in a couple projects, and so it was really cool to meet the writing team on that. They're all so talented, and they were so great in working with us as the actors to make sure that we understood not just the context, but the emotional state of the characters. And there was a lot of dialogue for the party member characters, and being able to do 2 of them and keep them both very individual and separate with their own arcs was a really cool challenge as an actor as well. And I'm very, very invested in that game, just from a personal standpoint, as a performer standpoint. So I was so happy that it came out so well and was so well received by the public, and I hope to do more in the future. I hope there's more for the Pillars of Eternity universe, partially because I would love to play more, and I'm selfish and want to play those characters more.
Have you played through the game at all?
I've played through the game. Yeah, I have my entire keep excavated and upgraded, and RPGs are my jam. But I have the 2 characters in the game that I play. There's Adair, who's like a kind of a rough and tumble, laid back farmer turned soldier, who has his own kind of dark past, and his arc is very emotional if subdued. And he was a very, very fun character. His voice kind of rests around here, and he just kind of moseys along and makes sure that you stay safe. Just stay behind me. Then we have Aloth, who's an elven wizard who has some sort of, I guess you could call a schizophrenic break here and there, and you find out why as it goes on. But he's very up here and eager to help, and perhaps notify you if something arcane finds its path your way. Don't mind me.
Love it. That's awesome. I can't wait to meet those characters in the game. That's gonna be awesome. I've heard the game though is incredibly like in depth and long, that you can spend many hours just doing like side quests and just exploring what they have to offer. So I'm definitely excited to get into it, finish it, and then like you said, hopefully they'll have some more, because those are the kind of games that you want to play over. You spend all that time, like you said, upgrading your keep and stuff like that. So that's we need a sequel type of thing.
Exactly. And also, if you're a fan of isometric RPGs like that, there's one game that I've been working on it's an indie game. It's still in production, called Masquerada. It's a Singapore-based company, but it's same thing, a very, very rich world, a very wonderful adult form of storytelling with very complicated characters. And the cast, I play the main character Cicero in this, and the cast includes Jen Hale, Kat Tabor, Courtney Taylor, a bunch. They got amazing talent working on this, and we recorded together for a lot of the scenes in the booth.
Very cool.
So,
that is awesome.
That's
really,
weird
really excited for that game.
That she didn't talk about it. We just interviewed Jen.
Courtney.
No, we've got Jen Taylor. Sorry, coming up from that. Yeah, when I did the Steve Downs interview, he hooked us up, and I was talking to her and him about some of the stuff that they're going to be in, because they're actually coming to a con here. Just a few minutes down the road, which is hopefully we're going to retry to do our first live show there. But they didn't. Yeah, she didn't mention that, so I'm definitely gonna talk to her about that and see if we can get the inside scoop. But I think when you talk, like I said, about these isometric RPGs and just RPGs in general, it's kind of like a dying breed. Now you see like more RPGs are being kind of like brought to the mainstream market. So it's really cool to see these kind of old school throwbacks, and to show that the publishers out there, the fans still want this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. And there's nothing wrong with RPGs going to the mainstream either. It just means that, like you said, that older classic format tends to
we don't want to lose
not be considered for the large scale.
Yeah, it tends to die out pretty quickly because of things like that.
I think the newer generation who haven't experienced that kind of thing, with Pillars of Eternity, they can finally like look back and be like, oh, so this is the kind of game that maybe people used to play. Yeah. No, but they get to experience that in a more modern sort of, because it's been modernized a bit so that it matches up with sort of today's gameplay standards, so to speak. And so it's a blend of both the past and the present.
My game was based on 2nd edition D&D with Thaco.
Second edition.
I love it. Ronan, you have our next question.
All right, so for those who don't know, you are the voice of Tim Drake, or Robin, in Batman Arkham Knight.
Oh, Lord.
So my question is, do you have any sort of affinity towards Robin as a character throughout Batman? Because I know you played as him again, and one of the movies, I believe. And
I've done a couple projects with him.
yeah. Outside of the fact that you were Anarchy as well in Batman: Arkham Origins, so yeah. Well, do you have any sort of like a affinity towards Robin as a character? Are you a fan of Robin?
I am. I'm as far as comics go, I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC, except for the Gotham universe. That's my major draw in DC.
Nice.
And of all the Robins, Tim Drake has always been my favorite. Partially because he was one of the first to start calling Batman on his shit. Really
love it.
Kind of grill him for that, but also, you know, he's more tech savvy, and I just like his personality, and so being able to take my knowledge of the character and kind of build a personality based on that and tailor it to the specific Arkham universe was a lot of fun. And I mean, Christ, when you're surrounded by so many greats, you know, I grew up with Conroy and Hamill, you know, as my Batman and Joker, and they will always be my Batman and Joker.
Yes.
And so just to be in that mix was a huge honor.
We're trying our hardest to get Hamill on the show. He's an amazing voice actor. Love it.
I mean, it's not too often that you get to hear, you know, somebody get to call, you know, Kevin Conroy a son of a bitch to his face in a game.
I liked this Robin as well. I haven't completed the game because I own it on PC, and we have the issues with it. The performance on PC, it's kind of unplayable. But from what I've heard from Ronin, is the game's good, and from what I've seen of Robin, this is a much more like in your face. He's a bulkier Robin. He doesn't seem like the kind of Robin that everybody, you know, tends to think of. You know, oh, Robin's the sidekick. He seems like somebody that could take the story away.
I think he shaved his head. He's got this really tough look to him. He looks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a badass. Big
Did
time
you get to beat the game, Matt? Did you finish
the game? I haven't.
Okay.
I have a stack. I have Mad Max and I have Metal Gear and I have Arkham Knight waiting in the wings while I spend my entire life playing Witcher 3 because it's the best game.
Just the game just doesn't.
Nice.
That game is amazing. But yeah, that's very cool. It's a great question, Ronan. Did you have anything else to add on to it?
Oh no, that was it for me.
Okay, perfect. Young, you're up.
Yep. So tell us a bit about your voice acting work in Destiny. I believe you played the male human guardian
Another
for
gem.
that game. Yeah. So what was that experience like, and how does that compare to, you know, roles like Resident Evil 6, where you're playing a very sort of set and defined character, versus this one where you're like sort of the player character, so to speak?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have the opportunity to be kind of the player's insertion point into the story and to kind of represent their inner monologue. And because the game doesn't want to distinguish the character you're playing so separately from you as the player, there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue for it. There are moments here and there just to create some relationship between you and Ghost for cutscenes and a couple other NPCs. And so it was really cool to kind of work in that environment. Work with Bungie in general on a game like Destiny is awesome. But yeah, so the experience recording that was trying to make sure that there was enough personality where it would click in the storyline sequences, but not so much where the player couldn't connect with that to be just an avatar for themselves, which it essentially is for most of the game. Right. So that was a cool performance direction to take with it, and a little disappointed they haven't recorded new stuff for the expansions because I'd like to come back in.
They did do the voice switch though. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I am a big fan of the previous actor. I think Peter Dinklage is a fantastic performer. Yeah, I feel I don't know at which point either the communication breakdown happened or I was surprised that there seemed to be a lack of real care in his initial pass as Ghost.
Okay,
it does happen. Right. I wasn't necessarily, you know, not raising pitchforks and torches.
Of course not. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I was a little disappointed with the lack of enthusiasm from that performance, and the switch to Nolan North, I feel was probably a better chance going forward because number one, he's far more available than Mr. Game of Thrones, and
Mr. Game of Thrones,
and you could hear it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could hear it in the new performance.
I agree.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to work with Peter at all? Do you meet him?
No, that would have been awesome. Unfortunately, a lot of video game recording is a solitary experience because there's so much dialogue and the scripts are so extensive that it doesn't make financial sense a lot of times to record in a group. There are some games that understand the storytelling is so important, especially a performance capture. We all perform that together, and that's a group thing. And a few projects will do recording in the booth together, but most of the time it's a very solitary experience. So there are a lot of actors that, we've worked on many games together, sometimes characters that are very, very emotionally invested in each other, and we'll meet for the first time at a convention a year later. It's that weird kind of...
we were recently interviewing Brian and Courtney, who are the main protagonists for Fallout 4. And they say they didn't meet each other at all throughout the entirety of their voice work. And, at the beginning, you see them both together as husband and wife. They're kind of interacting, and all of that was done sort of solo, separate. And that, really surprised me. So, it's interesting to find out that so much of it is really done solo. But
I was really excited that you guys got them to act out that scene together. They did a dual interview with us together on a couch, together, in person, and they acted out that little scene from the bathroom. I'm sure you've seen the trailer for Fallout.
Yeah.
So they did such a cute nose thing. It was hilarious. I loved it. But cool. I think we hear this a lot, and it surprises me because you think about like big budget movies, how they have everybody on set, they're blowing up cars and destroying city blocks and all this kind of stuff, and nowadays a lot of it's shot in front of a green screen, but you still have that that big budget, and it just seems to me like the voice acting world would benefit so much more from having you guys together. Not that you guys don't do good jobs apart, but as you said, it's just sometimes it's even better when you're able to do it with an actual person right there in the booth. And a lot of times you guys as voice actors and even the voice actresses just nail it even when you're not there. So we hear
that's actually part of the skill set for voiceover that makes it so specialized. Is we are a lot of us do have to work in a void. We have no costumes, no set pieces, no props, in many cases very little context, and we have to extrapolate and still find a point of truth in ourselves to connect to the dialogue and deliver it as honestly as we would if we had all those around us. And so that's why I think, once again, why theater lends itself to this better than some on-camera skill sets, because we're, in many cases, you're practicing and rehearsing with nothing around you, and you kind of have to extrapolate just from your imagination. And I will say, that's part of like Masquerada is a good example of, they took the time to record together as the actors. And while we're comfortable as voice actors doing it alone, there is something special about having that other performer across from you. And I think no matter how good you are on your own, there's just that little extra glimmer of life behind it when you have somebody else you can connect your eyesight to as you're speaking.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like it's a little more spontaneous, where they may do something and then that'll make you think about something new on the spot and act something out in a way that has a little more life to it. Which is like what the theater is a lot like. So it's very cool to hear.
It's a connection of energy. It's a give and take. And when you have nobody there to give it to, you kind of just give it to the space. But when there's somebody to take that energy and that attention and throw it back at you, and like you said, sometimes they'll mix it up. Sometimes even just a physical reaction or an expression will completely change the impact it has on you. And that you can't capture that other than
it's a constant back and forth energy, which is great.
I think a great example is we had Steve Downs, who is Spartan 117 from Halo. He was telling us about the end of Halo 4, and he said there was a very emotional part at the end of Halo where he's talking about Cortana, and he said he had Jen Taylor in the room with him and told her to have her hand out so he could reach for it. To kind of draw some emotion, and he said he ended up not doing it and just made the scene so much better to have somebody there, and he said he doesn't think he would have been able to capture that same thing without having that that one person there. So I think it's definitely important that maybe as the future progresses and games get bigger and bigger budgets, that we get you guys together with at least the main characters of the games that you guys are in. But quickly, one short question before we hop back over to Ronin. Can you tell us a little bit about your performance in Mad Max? Who are you in there? Are you additional voices? And what was it? Because I don't see a credit in there, and I haven't completed the game yet, so I don't know exactly what your involvement is in there. Are you the thugs?
I'm a lot of war boys. You've killed a lot of me, both in Metal Gear and Mad Max.
Did you do the war
killed
boys?
a lot of me.
Yeah, I have.
I did.
You did war boys?
I have.
That's awesome.
I did a Warboy Commander. A lot of the guy you'll hear sounds like his jaw's a little broken. I'll step back to this. He's kind of like
That's so cool.
usually the guys carrying heavy shields and screaming out to the rest of the Warboys to attack
I hate them.
me throughout the game. And also, I do a bunch of NPCs to give you quests. You know,
Okay.
guys are like, hey, go, get me gas. Come and get back. You know, those kind of guys.
All right, that's very cool. Yeah, I think that's something. I guess we can talk about it quickly. Is you've got such a range that you're able to do these additional voices for a lot of different games. And I know Yong has a question regarding Metal Gear here in just a few minutes. But can you just give me the broad answer about what it kind of takes to do additional voices? It definitely obviously takes maybe not necessarily a greater skill set than a regular main character, but you have to have a voice that can transition from highs to lows and different pitches and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you have to have range.
how do you approach that? Like when they say, "Hey, we need 10 soldier voices," how do you come up with 10 different voices?
That comes with training, practice, and experience. You have to be very in tune with your range, not just in vocal pitch, but in textures and qualities and placement of your throat. And you know, you can talk in a higher voice, you could talk in a lower voice, but then if you add a little bit of gravel to it, and that can even take it all the way to the top, and now you have 6 different vocal types, and then you can go ahead and add some accents or dialects, and that can mix it up a little, depending on which you prefer to make it for your type, and it can transition from person to person, depending, even with the same vocal texture. But then you can also bring in, you know, pinching the voice and just adding a little bit of strange palette work to just alter the presentation. And so you just learn all these different placement positions in the throat for the tongue, for the throat, and where to constrict it and add texture. And so you're able to differentiate characters very quickly and with very little context, and a lot of times. So it's definitely not easy, but it's a really fun experience as an actor to just run the gamut within a 4-hour session of doing so many characters.
Yeah.
Right. So one kind of final pin that I have for this question is, when you do multiple characters, do you approach it from a kind of like back looking in, or do you try and make these additional characters actually a character? Like, for instance, if you're playing a soldier, do you try and put yourself into who that particular soldier is, or are you just creating just kind of a random voice for it?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. You know, a lot of times you don't have a lot of backstory for each of these NPCs.
Right.
They'll be like, it's roughly 30s, tough, go. You know, that's all you have to work on. And so you have to create yourself with that. Do I decide, is the character more cowardly? Is the character over brash and confident? Are they insecure? Are they a little bit worried? Do they want to, you kind of create very strong but immediate choices on where you think that character is coming from. And then you add a vocal print to it. So they'll tell me, a soldier, 30s, go. And I'll be like, well, okay, he has a family at home he's worried for. He really wants to survive this experience. You know, and that'll be enough for me. I'll be like, okay, so his self-preservation is a really important goal for him. And he believes in what he's doing, but not at the cost of his family. And so that will inform me, based after what vocal texture I choose, as to how he'll react to certain things. And if it's not what the director wants a different direction for the character, they'll stop me after a couple lines and be like, that's cool, let's try and tweak it a little more tough. And I'm like, okay, we make that adjustment. And that's kind of the relationship with the director, is they have the whole grand scope of the tapestry in front of them. You only see that small piece. So you have to trust them to know that even though what you're doing might be good, it might not be right for that part of the tapestry. And so together you dial it in and find something that's unique and fits in that spot.
Well, thank you for that, Matt. That's definitely informative. We actually have our first director interview next week. It's Chris Zimmerman, or Chris Salter. I don't know what she likes to go by nowadays, but director.
Chris is amazing.
Yes, so we're going to be interviewing her with Paul Eiding together. So
have you worked with Chris?
I've first off, Paul Eiding, I love to death. Tell him I say hi.
Yes, come to
Chris,
the show.
Exactly. Chris, I've worked with many times. She's actually I owe her my career. She was the first director to ever. She pulled me out of an audition and wondered why I didn't have an agent. Got me in with one of the top agents of the industry. Gave me a full recommendation, and I worked with her probably on 20, 30 games since. I absolutely love her. She's amazing.
That's
wow.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we just hear
She's in
nothing
everybody's
but
lives.
compliments about
Yes,
Chris.
absolutely.
I cannot wait to interview her. Everyone
Yeah.
just hails her just as this godlike being, basically. Everyone just says she's amazing, and it's really exciting.
Oh, she'll cut you. Don't.
We've heard that as
words
well.
here. She's a tough girl. She will take you down, but in the best way. Like yeah, she's a good one. She's a good egg.
All right.
Right. Yeah, she's got a talent for picking out some of the best voice actors in the industry.
Absolutely.
Obviously. So, thanks for answering that. Sorry that question was so long and drawn out. Ronan, I believe you have our next one, bud.
Yeah, I do actually. My previous question was actually answered already about you being a Resident Evil fan and voicing Leon S. Kennedy. So my next question is a simple one, and that is, are you an anime fan? And if so, which ones are your favorite?
Well, based on the fact that I was the president of the Popular Arts Club in high school, which was code for the Anime Video Game Club, yes, I am an anime.
All right.
I mean, classically, we're talking Cowboy Bebop was such a game changer for the genre back in the day. I love Ninja Scroll, even though it was hyper violent and over sexualized. It was just a really, really fun, dirty
some you just
Japanese fantasy.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. If we're still going old school, I actually really enjoyed the first Street Fighter 2 animated movie. I felt it was probably
man.
to date the best interpretation of the Street Fighter universe, the way cohesive story.
Absolutely.
But since then, through the years, I've really, really enjoyed. Let's see. The Fate Zero. Like I've been a part of some projects that I'm a fan of outside of that. And,
I believe you played a
beautiful series.
Kitsugu Emiya, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that character.
Awesome.
I just started watching it actually. I'm like 3/4 of the way through, and
it's so good. It's so
amazing.
good. It's so good.
That's
Very cool.
I'm super proud and happy to be part of that series. And then Attack on Titan, I do also enjoy. Like I said, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible outside of my involvement in some projects I legitimately really like.
No, you're involved in so many great shows, though.
Yeah, you really are.
Right. Yeah. The resume it's impressive. That's what we were saying when we first started the show. I mean, you've got just as many games as Troy Baker, Nolan North, some of these hugely popular voice actors, and you do such a great job at all of them. I always tell the guys here at the show and the fans that the mark to me of a great voice actor is one that you don't know is in so many things, because that means that their voice is so broad and their range is so good that they can do all of these different voices. I got in trouble for doing that. All right, I hope you get a pass, because everybody got mad
No,
at
but
me
you
for
add
that.
the "love you long time." That's why you
I
get
did
it.
there we
not
go.
do that. Okay,
Anyway.
maybe I did. I don't know what I did. Okay, I don't know what I do on the show. I'm the comedic relief,
Anyway.
right?
Well, I greatly appreciate that, and you throw out these names of these really incredibly talented people. I'm
Don't
even just honored to be remotely but at the same time too, they're acting as a career is always such a touch and go experience, and you never know how much time you have until you fade into obscurity. And I'm very, very fortunate and consider myself very lucky to even be doing what I'm doing right now. And I hope to be doing it for a long time. And to even be surrounded by such talented people is a very, very perpetually humbling experience and a very exciting one. So I hope more to come.
Awesome.
That's
Ronan,
awesome.
did you have anything else for that question, buddy?
No, I'll stay there for my next question. That follows along to this.
Well, the question we've been waiting for. Young, take it away.
Well, as we said before, my personal favorite video game series of all time is Metal Gear, and I was really happy to find out you were involved in that. So can you tell us a bit about your involvement in both Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain? You're credited as a lot of the soldiers that I probably killed, some of the extra voices. So how much voice acting did you do for that game? So what are some of the lines you said that we may or may not have recognized?
Are you a diamond dog?
Some of them, were there some Russian
I
lines
am a
you
diamond
said? So what was that experience like in general?
Well, as a longtime fan of the Metal Gear franchise, I've always wanted to be a part of it. So I've had the pleasure that Chris has dragged me in for a few of the projects, and it was great. I for this one, even just being one of the soldiers, I probably still looked at about 16 hours of recording.
Oh,
Really?
Wow.
I would say.
Well, he did the Ground
'cause
Zeroes one too, and had a nice big chunk of dialogue in Ground Zeroes, which I had a theory that you were Gray Fox. I messaged Yong, and I was like, I know who Gray Fox is. It's Matt Mercer.
I was like,
That'd be so good.
yeah, right.
yeah, there.
So yeah, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, it was really, really cool, and there's a lot of variations to the story, and a lot of the dialogue and reactions both as enemies, and you could actually recruit us as part of your troop, which is cool. So you got to have a lot of thanks for punching me, boss. And
Thank you, boss.
Like that. A lot of reactions of being taken off by the balloon, which is also fun.
Oh, you did all those. Okay.
So that was. Yep, a lot of those. And my girlfriend, Marisha actually, who's Margaret in Persona, was also a bunch of the female soldiers in the game as well. So we both got to work
really?
Cool.
that Metal Gear world,
cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. People are loving the female characters, so I'm sure she's one of them. A lot of people have taken to just playing as some of the female characters. I believe there's a couple of missions where you specifically get a female character. I believe that's like a prisoner mission. So I think... that's really neat that you guys got to do that, together. And when you're doing something like Metal Gear, for instance, like you said, you've been part of the franchise before. I believe it was Metal Gear 2 or something. You played some extra soldiers. I'm not sure which one it was, but I know you did some extra soldiers.
I think it was Peace Walker.
Peace Walker, that's right.
Metal Gear 2?
Yes.
That didn't even have voice acting.
No, I meant Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh, Solid 2. Okay.
There's
a distinction.
Right, of course. But yeah, it was Peace Walker. You did some soldiers there. So, when you got to revisit the project, did you bring any kind of influences from those soldiers, since they're kind of supposed to be similar in nature? You start out and you can actually go back and get some of your old staff members from the Peace Walker incident. So was it totally new or fresh lines, or did you kind of bring some of the stuff that you learned in Peace Walker in?
Well, the Peace Walker recording was a while ago.
Right, it's like 08, right?
I wouldn't say I took most inspiration from that experience, more than just kind of go to the soldiers that were in this game, particularly working with Chris to find where they're coming from and kind of follow through on their independent arcs. And this is the fun thing about games like that when you play the respective enemies that populate the world, is you have so many reaction scripts. So we'll have whole sessions which are just like, oh crap, he's got a gun. Oh crap, he's got a stick. Oh crap, he's got a dog. Oh crap, he's got a tree. Oh crap, he's got a box. Oh crap, he's got an orange. Do every single possible reaction to what the player can do, and so you have just whole sessions of running through long sets of the repetition. It's a lot of repetition, and so it takes a specific type of patience and skill set to be able to trudge through that. One, not get not lose interest, but also make them all sound interesting and unique and spontaneous, without falling into that comfortable pocket of just repeating yourself in the same cadence every single time. So it's a lot of fun, especially when you get to the ones that are like, wait, did that box just move? I'm like, oh, I know what that means.
Did you do the effects for when Snake pulls up the cardboard box and there's this bikini model, and then the dudes just they run up to you and they go, oh, wow.
Oh yeah, yep. Got to do that. Got to do on fire. On fire is always the fun one.
On fire.
No, it's not. It's not fun at all. On fire is always the worst thing to see in a script as an actor. Like you get into the script and it's like on fire, 6 seconds. Oh, okay, 3 takes.
6 seconds.
Yeah, three takes. I've got a question. Well, a lot of the characters in the game are either African or Russian. Which ones do you only play the American ones that you see maybe when they're back on Mother Base and they speak English? Or
I've only played the ones that had the American accents. I believe they actually got Russian actors and African actors to do the ones that are region specific.
Okay.
I can do Russian. Russian is a dialect I very much enjoy doing, but I felt it was good choice on their part to stick with actual Russians, because while I can possibly pronounce aspects, I cannot speak it at all. So.
Well, that might have been good, because I believe there was a couple soldiers who speak Russian and American. And that's their translators. You got to go pick them up. So that's still cool to hear. So you're mainly around the Mother Base then? So we could, if anybody we beat up is
man,
probably
I'm beating you up so much. I am so sorry. I've electrified you, tranked you, punched you
mind.
out of the mother
said-
base into the waters. I mean, I've done
Throwing
so
you off the
much.
ledge. Yeah, just
You
You got to
Yeah,
raise that
thanks.
morale, man.
Yeah,
so bad.
Yeah, he doesn't mind. He likes it, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, you.
Yep.
Thank you, boss.
Yeah. Young, did you have anything else to tag on to the Metal Gear question? Or
No,
Ronan?
I'm good. That was a very extensive and insightful answer. Thank you.
If you could go back and play a main character in any of the Metal Gears, who's your character?
Oh man. Oh, that's
That's a tough one.
if we're talking.
We asked
talking
that to
villains?
we asked that to most of our Metal Gear guests, and since you were in a Metal Gear game, got to ask you as well.
I would say, from a villain standpoint, I would adore the capability of being Psycho Mantis.
Of
It's still one of my
course,
favorite
yeah.
villains, and it's just I can read your mind. It's just a cool character.
Yeah, definitely.
Overall,
Yeah.
just because I think as probably the one that's most like me, and I kind of can fit that vocal range pretty well. I would love Otacon.
Otacon, really?
Nice.
Right.
Wow.
Otacon's my boy, yo.
Huh.
It's so fun. We're interviewing him at the end of the month. So
Really, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We'll tell him to
Otacon's
watch
my man,
watch his
that.
job.
Oh no, he's got that.
I'm kidding.
All right, Snake, get out your camera. Metal Gear should be forward in that warehouse. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just got that fun. He's me,
You were
basically.
talking to-
Of course,
Yeah.
I probably would have peed myself in the locker, but you know,
Well, that's very
I'll own it.
that's
I'll own that
different. Psycho Mantis and Otacon. That's cool. He would when we talked to Christopher Randolph in our first interview, he actually wanted to be Snake.
He auditioned for Snake
Yeah.
and
He
got the
auditioned
role
for
of
Snake.
Otacon, which was
He did.
that's cool.
Yeah, and actually that goes back to Chris Zimmerman again. He said that he would audition for Snake and was leaving, and she was like,
Wait,
"Hey,
read
why
for
don't you
this.
try this character
Yeah.
instead?" And I guess he nailed that one. So I think that's really cool. But Ronan, you're up, buddy.
All right, so we touched a little bit on the Attack on Titan earlier. So for those who don't know, you are the voice of Captain Levi, who is a very stark character in the series. So in what ways does Levi stand out to you as a character as opposed to your other roles, like let's say Leon, for example?
Levi stands out for a few reasons. One, in a world, in a context of the story, in a world where everyone is perpetually living in a level of conscious fear and this low tense panic. Although they've had 100 years of peace, so the series starts not quite as tense, but
Right.
the ever-present threat of the Titans and everything. Everyone lives in that state. Levi represents the rock. He's the emotional rock for the entire human race. Because Levi is so focused and so chill and seems so confident, everyone else can take a sigh of relief. So to step into that role and kind of understand him, a person who cannot allow himself to be emotional because so much of humanity relies on him to not crack, is a really cool character. And the fact that he has this vulgar, snarky personality. He has his quirky appreciation for cleanliness and is so respected and feared that he could just in the middle of a courtroom beat the living shit out of the main hero who's currently being court-martialed for being a villain. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Well, we're just going to let him do that because I don't want to piss him off. Like, that's a cool character.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, so I think
Oh, that's awesome.
that's a great example. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting near the end of the questions here, Matt. And we got a couple more questions from us, and then we got a couple community questions. Are you okay on time? Because I see we just hit our hour mark.
Yeah. We can scoot for another 10 minutes or so.
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll make it
10,
quick.
15.
Young, you got the next one, bud.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about video games. We talked a lot about anime. Could you give us some insight into how, for you, anime voice acting differs from video game voice acting?
In a lot of ways, as opposed to like Western animation or regular pre-laid cartoon animation where you record before the animation, or video games where you do your vocal recording and it's animation is tailored to the performance. Anime is pre-existing animation. It's ADR, which means you have a set lip flap, a set pacing and performance, and you have to do the best you can to kind of fit what could be a broad performance or an instinctually organic performance and fit it in this tiny little box that's about that tall, that wide. And so it's a very technical thing, and not a lot of people can do it. It's an understanding of timing. It's a very, very, very comfortable understanding of your pacing of speech, how fast you can talk and still be enunciating properly, and it's a much more technical process. I enjoyed the challenge of it. I think it's a cool game in a way to be able to still be in the moment and still deliver these lines, but fit them right in these beats at a time that the script needs them, and not sound too stilted and not sound too, and that isn't always the case, as the classic old school anime have proven, and gave the bad rap for English dubbing. But I think as the years have gone on, the writing has definitely improved. The acting has definitely improved. People have taken it a lot more seriously, and I think English dubs still get a really bad rap given all the difficulty and challenge involved in even bringing it to this shore. But there are definitely reasons that it exists. If you go back in the 90s and watch some of that, you're like, no.
It's pretty bad.
Ronan, you got the next question, buddy.
All right, so I'm going to touch a little bit on this thing that a lot of people are here watching to get information about you on. So you're the dungeon master, or you were the dungeon master on Critical Role.
Yes.
Along with quite a few other amazingly talented voice actors and actresses. So for those watching who don't quite know what this is, what exactly is Critical Role?
So Critical Role began as just a Pathfinder role-playing game that I started about 2.5 years ago with a bunch of other voice actors. Players involve Mercer, who I mentioned earlier, Taliesin Jaffe, Ryan Akaba, Liam O'Brien, Sam Riegel, Laura Bailey, Travis Willingham, and Ashley Johnson. And so we just played privately for a little over 2 years, and word got eventually to Felicia Day. She asked us if we would want to play live on her Geek and Sundry Network's Twitch channel, and we decided, sure, we'll see if that works. And so since then, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, we play Dungeons and Dragons for about 3 hours.
Wow. Just
rolling dice, being nerds, and telling a partially improvised story, and it's blown up. And
Are you still doing it currently?
Oh yeah, no, our most recent episode was last night, where we unveiled.
I missed it. I'm there next week.
Oh, you should check it out. But also because of that, not only has a great audience and community built out of it, but I had the pleasure of running a short game of D&D for Vin Diesel a couple weeks ago.
What?
Whoa.
I customized it, and we had a whole set built for it, and the actual sequence goes up this Monday on Geek and Sundry and Nerdist. But he's a huge D&D nerd, and we had so much fun playing, and he was so cool. If you go to his Facebook, he has a video up of him after the game talking with us for a bit, talking about the game, and it was a lot of fun getting to meet him and game with him. So
very cool.
That's really cool.
You would never guess.
Nope.
Well, yeah,
I'm
definitely there next Thursday. I love watching
check that
stuff
out.
like that.
It's awesome.
I'll make
I've
sure
always
to
wanted
say hi.
to get into D&D, but I just don't know anyone who knows how to play. It's such I've never played D&D, but I've always wanted to. It's just, it has so much. There's so much that goes into it that you need a group of people who are really invested into it to. But I've always wanted to make a character and have this improvised adventure. That sounds awesome. But I'll tune in.
A fun fact is this show was originally a D&D show. It was I started streaming here on Hitbox with my team, and I didn't have anything to do. I didn't do interviews live. I didn't have anything to do, so I was like, we're going to play Dungeons and Dragons on Tabletop Simulator, which is a Steam game.
Nice.
It's a Steam game. I think I invited you to play, Ronan. I invited some of the because Ronan's one of our original members of the team here, and I invited him and a few members to play, and I couldn't get the Dungeon Master to get on weekly, and so I didn't have anything to do. So I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll interview David Hayter, and then now we're this show. Now we're this show.
It's a great segue into this,
I needed something to do. Okay, I'm not entertaining. So.
I just like, man, I could go pick up my laundry, or no, you know what? I got an hour. I'm gonna go and interview David Hayter.
That'll work.
We didn't think it was going to happen, but there it is, and now here we are. So yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly excited to kind of see what you guys. Is it? If somebody were to come and watch it from our chat or us in general, are we going to be lost, or do you guys kind of explain what's going on like before you get into everything?
But before every session, I give a quick overview of like what's previously happened to get you kind of up to speed to where we are, where you can hop in any episode and not be completely lost. There'll be some aspects that you have to maybe adjust to, but all the content also is up on YouTube and on the Geek and Sundry website. So all of our past episodes are available for viewing.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's really it's fun, nerdy times. We have a good time, and just watching the whole community that's come out, the whole Team Human and Critter community that's risen out of it around that Twitch is brilliant. We've had the opportunity to meet a lot of the fans, and it's for all the things I've done in my career, this is quickly becoming one of the most fulfilling because we get to create this story with very close friends and find a community that is as invested as we are. So I'm absolutely loving what it's become, and we'll see where it goes from here.
You guys act out all these characters and stuff? You guys go full out voice acting? And that's awesome. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's
really
great.
cool.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying Travis Willingham's character is a Goliath barbarian, a half-giant barbarian, named Grog, and Grog talks like this, and likes ale and ladies, and
Love it.
So we all get way too invested in it. We have guests on occasionally. We had Felicia Day, Will Wheaton, Mary Elizabeth Miglin, and Will Friedle all guest on for a little bit, and we have a few more guests that will be popping up over the next year or so.
Oh, cool.
So we have interest from, I think Jen Hale wants to come on and play at some point.
Tell her to come on our show.
Okay, I'll let her know.
Appreciate it. In the interest of time, Ronin, do you have any final questions for Matt?
No, that was my last one, actually.
Okay, perfect. Well then, Zhong, I'm going to let you hit up the community questions. Like I said, we're running real short on time here. I know Matt's got some stuff to do, and I know you've got some stuff to do as well, Yong. So if you want to hit up any of your last interviewer questions and then your community questions, let me know when you finish, because we got 2 questions to pull from the chat as well.
Great. Okay, so this is a question that a lot of people are asking. Capcom recently announced that they are remaking Resident Evil 2. So I've got to ask, are you going to be reprising Leon Kennedy? Is that something you can even talk about? We don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
I would love to. I have a very, very close connection with Leon's character, and I really love the idea of continuing to perform Leon. That's entirely up to Capcom.
Okay,
I haven't heard anything.
You haven't been approached yet?
I haven't been approached yet, but it's also, production can be early.
Yeah.
A lot of
it's still
times
early in development,
who knows? And they may go with somebody else. Why not get a 4th Leon voice actor? I don't know. Just keep the trend of recasting.
Do you think they'll do something like
sad.
Silent Hills, maybe, where they just reuse the old dialogue? Is that a possibility?
I hope not.
Yeah,
So
it's a remake.
That'd be kind of weird.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul Haddad did a great job as Leon back then, but the quality of the audio and a lot of the other characters in the game as well were definitely indicative of that era of the early PlayStation.
Exactly.
So
it's a remake.
I think it would definitely benefit.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think that's a fair assumption to make. But we hope you get.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Yep.
we hope you get casted, because I think you've done an excellent job so far, and we'll
You
see.
too. Thank you.
Yeah, Capcom, get on it.
Yes.
Contact him right now.
You never know. Konami watches. Why not Capcom?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure somebody from Capcom is watching.
Yeah. All right. Next up, I have this is my personal this is my personal final question. What are some of your favorite video games of all time, and what are some video games that you're looking forward to from now?
Ooh, Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment, that whole kind of period of gaming time was definitely my heavy jam for a while. Growing up a D&D nerd and RPG nerd. I really, really, really love the Witcher series. From the first to the third, I've read the books.
Yeah.
The reason I'm growing up this beard is for my Geralt Halloween costume.
Okay, that's good.
It's getting there.
He was so fun.
so
that guy was awesome.
Oh, yeah. But classically, I would have to say it's a toss-up for me between Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI.
Oh, Chrono
Nice.
Trigger.
Nice.
Great.
Great
choices.
Yeah.
That is absolutely
fantastic, man.
What are some games you're looking forward to that you really, really want to play?
Oh, looking forward to Dark Souls 3. I'm a big fan of the Dark Souls franchise.
Nice.
I'm masochistic to a fault in those games. Fallout 4, man. I've played every Fallout and love them all, and I can't wait to hear both Brian and Courtney in it. I'll play through as both of them, and there's probably some cool surprises in there too for everyone. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome.
Awesome. And that concludes my questions. Now I have 3 community questions from my community. V Awakened from YouTube, what did you think of Kill a Kill when you first learned of it and read the script for your character? Because that is a very eccentric kind of show.
That it is. I was excited because in that particular year, a lot of the roles that I had played, a lot of the characters, I really enjoyed playing them. They're all very stoic, and they were very kind of like low, gruff heroes, or very kind of intense personalities. And Kill la Kill is so over the top, and so, especially my character, Kisugi, is just absurd. And so to me, it was really, really cool to step into that zone and get to play a bit and be so ridiculous. And the franchise, when I first looked it up, I was like, this is really cheesecakey, fan servicey. But once I read into the story and saw that not only was everything there for a reason, but thematically, it had a lot of really, really cool messages about, being able to express yourself regardless of what the world may judge, and being free of the constraints of society to be whoever you want to be. There's a lot of really, really cool themes that were hidden underneath the kind of cheesecake visual presentation. So I love the show.
Yeah. Cool opportunity. The show's very satirical. I feel like it makes fun of all the tropes of anime, but at the same time, it does have like some cool themes in there. Yeah, it's. I love the show. It's
so over the top. It's amazing.
It's hilarious. The Flying Lion from YouTube asks, "What was it like portraying Kiritsugu Emiya in Fate Zero?" Just tell us a bit about that experience.
Fate Zero, of all the anime projects I've been a part of, is probably the one I'm the most proud of. I think not only was it just a great project visually, it's so beautiful, and the music is so well orchestrated, and the story is dark and complex, and all the characters have so many facets to their personalities, and Kiritsugu is such a complex character with a very interesting arc. And just the collaboration between the actors and the director and the producers, it was just, the whole project had this very great energy of excitement throughout the entire thing. And I'm very, very proud of everyone's work they did on that. And if anyone ever comes to me like, what anime have you worked on that you recommend? I'm always like, Fate Zero. Watch Fate Zero.
Recommendation.
Yeah.
Did you know about Fate Stay Night prior? Because I know there's like a visual novel, there's an anime of that, and that tells sort of it tells a future 10 years later, or is it 9 to 10 years later after Fate Zero?
9 to 10 years later, yeah.
10 years later
it's
or
like
something.
It's like different stories.
Did you know about all that prior to playing Kiritsugu in Fate Zero?
As an anime nerd, I did. I'd watched some of the original Fate Stay Night, and it's a very different series then. The original series was actually based on kind of a loosely adult dating game.
Yeah.
I actually played through the visual novel not knowing that, so that was a pleasant. I don't know if it was a pleasant surprise or if it was just awkward, but they're like, we gotta exchange magic. We gotta do it, and I'm like, it as in it, and then the music gets all mystical, and then they start undressing, and I'm like, oh god, this is actually this is happening.
Wow, this is happening.
So knowing that, when I went on audition for Fate Zero, I went, oh, this is okay. This will be interesting. And then I read the sides and read up online about the show, and I was like, oh, they went a whole different direction with the prequel. It's super intense and very dramatic and cinematic and very dark, and doesn't have any aspect of that kind of cheesecakiness to it, and which is fine in its own right. Like I said, Kill la Kill, love the show. But the direction they took with Fate Zero, I felt was such a unique and an awesome transition for how the story was previously presented, and what they've done since with the Unlimited Blade Works, the kind of central remake to it. I think it's a really cool direction for the series. So I was aware of it, and was excited that it went in a different direction.
Yeah, I concur with that, because it didn't fit at all. Because the visual novel actually it does have a lot of the dark themes and stuff, but just as soon as those pornographic moments kicked in. I'm just like, this doesn't fit at all. Like, what are you guys doing? Why is this necessary?
But I guess the master and servant
make
thing
money.
gives a bit away.
Yeah, that's exactly. There we go.
Yeah.
But the anime actually got rid of all that, and then Fate Zero took it in a even more. It was overall. I think I just love the Fate series. Enrique Luciano Flores from Facebook asks, "What was it like portraying Crom in Fire Emblem Awakening?"
That was cool. Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem's a great series. I learned about it from Smash Brothers, as a lot of people did, because there weren't really any imported or translations available outside of like online fan translations for emulator. And I played a couple fan emulated games because that's what you do, and you don't have access to those stuff on your computer. And I loved it. I love classic RPGs like that. Very reminiscent of like the old Dragon Warrior games. Or Breath of Fire, which I love so much, but had such a steeped medieval lore to it. So I liked those games a lot. And so when the auditions came through and I booked the role of Crom, it was really cool to step into that universe. And the game just looks beautiful and it plays so well, and it's built such a following to it. It's really neat. Which was funny because at the time we did one session that was all the storyline stuff, a lot of the dialogue and the character work and the cutscenes. Then the second session for it was all the reaction sounds. So it was 2 hours of going, huh? Yes, no, what? Where, huh? It was pretty hilarious.
Awesome.
But no, it's been a really, really cool experience. And actually, when I was called in to do stuff for Smash Brothers, I remember walking in. They didn't tell me what the game was, and they were like, "Oh, so this is Smash Brothers?" I'm like, "Oh, no way!" And it's like, "Shit, you're not playable." And I was like, "Oh."
Right.
And they're like, "But it's funny that you're not playable." And I was like, "Okay, that's pretty cool."
Wow. Young, you got any more community questions there?
Yeah, that is my last community question.
All right, Matt. So we're gonna do the couple community questions from the chat. 1 or 2 sentence answers, so we can move quick. We can get you out of here. I know we still have one last thing we're gonna have you do with the voices. So 1 to 2 lines for each one, and I'll pick just a few from our main chat people. So first one is from Jay Sand. He wants to know favorite video game and what platform do you like to play on right now?
Right now,
Yes.
Witcher 3 PS4.
Okay. Lear Quinn, hopefully I pronounced that right, wants to know what you enjoyed voice acting the most. Which character? For what I'm assuming they keep games.
Yeah, they always get that reaction whenever we
like,
ask a voice actor, "What's your favorite role?" They're just like, "Oh God."
If you can't,
children.
if you can't name your top one, just one of your most favorites.
One of my most favorites, honestly, working on Pillars of Eternity as Aloth and Adair was a really cool experience. I really enjoyed playing those characters and the story that we went through. Partially because I just love the isometric RPG and kind of the spiritual succession to the Baldur's Gate series to me. I already was so invested. So I really, really enjoyed playing those characters in that game.
There you go. Dark Sherlock Holmes wants to know what it was like playing Trey from Final Fantasy Type 0, and could you give him a quick impression of his voice if you can?
It was really cool. I mean, Final Fantasy franchise. To be a part of that in any degree is really cool. And Trey was fun because it reminded me of me when I was in school, which was the kind of bookish, kid that everyone went to help with their homework. That's kind of what Trey is. And he would get onto a topic that he was excited about and start rambling, and everyone's like, "Trey, just shut up." And I'm like, "Oh, that was totally me in school." So for me, it wasn't a huge stretch. It was very eager to express my interest in certain aspects. And if you want to know more, you're more than welcome to ask me. If you have a moment, where are you going? All right. So it was
perfect. All right, we'll do two more quick ones. This one comes from Wolfgang. He wants to know, with your love of old school D&D series, would you get behind the remake of his favorite series, Icewind Dale?
Oh yeah, Icewind Dale was great. I mean, all those, if they can still manage to keep a good isometric RPG format like what Pillars did or what Masquerada is working on right now, which is actually a really, really good system, kind of, the real-time isometric combat, and that flows really well. I would love to see them bring that back in that same format. I mean, even change the format. It's just a cool world to run around in. A lot of those those Dungeons and Dragons world settings, I think have cool stories and cool places to visit that I would love to see rezzed up for new titles.
Okay. And Immortal Furby wants to know, what is your opinion with Leon and Ada Wong? I had to ask this one because we interviewed Courtney Taylor. So, how will they be together?
I don't know if they ever will be. I know that. Oh, Leon definitely he has a connection to her. I know, and he has this long-standing torch that he still holds. But she's also so enigmatic and so untrustworthy. But he also understands that she has a connection with him too. But there's this weird thing. They're both so morally opposed in the fact that he's always for the greater good. She is always for whatever hidden agenda she may have, which may be for the greater good, maybe personally selfish. You don't really know.
It's true.
And because of the ambiguity, he can't really rationalize any possibility of them being together unless there were a change in that. And I don't think there could be. I could see them maybe having like a fling sometime, like a typical Hollywood passionate evening of whatever, and then she's already vanished in the morning.
Pretty much.
Like Eva and Snake kind of thing. I don't know.
Exactly. That's actually a really good example. Like that I could see being the kind of relationship they would carry on, if anything. Just occasional sparks, and then she's gone, and he chases her, doesn't know where she went off to, and sits there and grumbles, "Oh, women," like he does.
All right.
It reminds me a lot personally, James Bond and Moneypenny, where there's always like that tension, but it never really happens. I don't know.
Right.
That's a great. That's a great.
Could be one of those. I don't know.
I love that. But that wraps up all the questions. Thank you, Matt, for sticking around the extra few minutes.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Good questions, guys.
Thank you. Ronan has a couple lines for you to say. He's got them sent to you on Skype there. And before you do it, I'd like to say hi to Obsidian because they just tweeted at us. So
oh wow, nice.
I'm assuming they're in here. Hi, Obsidian. We love your game.
That's great. Really.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm gonna play it for many hours tonight when I can turn the AC on.
You gotta be dying over there, man.
Yeah, haven't you noticed? I'm like,
yeah. I saw you do it a few times.
It's not that I'm nervous that we have Matt Mercer here. It's clearly actually that. It's not the heat. You got all the lines there, Matt?
I do.
Okay, so I'm going to shut up and let you do your thing, man.
All right, so we're starting here with Leon Kennedy. We'll say he's like running into the room with a gun in his side. 3 interview hosts. Not my lucky day. Next up, we have Captain Levi. The difference between your decision and ours is experience. But you don't have to rely on that. Nice. We have Robin Arkham Knight. I just do what he says. He's not always in such a good mood. And then we got Kanji.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this might be a little loud. I'm gonna turn the volume down just a little bit on the mic. Oh, I get it. What you're really asking is, will you please beat the shit out of me, Kanji? Get bent, punk.
That was great.
I love it.
Fantastic. That was
amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Matt. Anything that you'd like to say to the fans watching before we leave? We've got a couple hundred people here, and obviously this is going to go up on our YouTube channel and stuff like that. So anything that you need to talk about to the fans, any plugs, any promos you're doing, anything that we should watch out on the horizon for you?
First off, thank you all so much for your support and your feedback and your comments and for playing my games. You guys make it worthwhile. Also, check out Critical Role Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time on Geek and Sundry's Twitch stream. And Minecraft Story Mode's coming up soon. A lot of great projects that are coming up soon that I can't talk about yet.
Okay.
All right.
I smell a follow-up interview.
I really want to talk about them. There's some really, really cool things coming up very soon that I want to talk about, but I can't. So keep an eye out on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll be putting out announcements as they happen.
Awesome.
We'd love to have you back after
definitely.
a bunch of those projects that you're involved in finally get unveiled, and we can hopefully talk about those.
Totally.
I gotta say, you were
Awesome.
one of the
That's
most approachable people that I've ever set up an interview with. A lot of times I got to go through agents.
you.
I got to submit questions. I just tweeted at him, and he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." I was like, "All right." I was a little bit of David Hayter there.
Hey, no, I'm happy to, and you guys have been really welcoming and awesome. So I appreciate that. Good questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As Young said, hopefully we can talk to you in a few months. We'll keep up with you on Twitter, and I'll see you on your Thursday night show. So thanks again, Matt. Have a great day, man, and we'll see you next time.
Definitely.
Thanks for
Take care,
that,
guys.
boss.
Take care.
Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Mercer, a.k.a. Matt Mercer, a.k.a. voice of Minnie. That's the
AKA everything and everybody.
Everyone.
Lot of people. So normally we do a post show, but Yang actually, as we kind of mentioned earlier, he's got his opening night of his play. So we're gonna ex-nay the post show today. Maybe we can set something up where we can do some news articles later. But we do have another interview coming up next week with the amazingly talented lady we talked about earlier, Chris Zimmerman and Paul Eiding. So that's going to be a extremely fun one to do. I promised everybody on Twitter that if we got 30 retweets or favorites, that I would make an announcement for interviews today. So in addition to the ones that we have coming up with Paul Eiding, Chris Zimmerman, and Christopher Randolph, we also have rebooked Stephanie Houston. That's our big announcement there. So we have her booked up. I emailed her agent yesterday, got everything set. It's going to be the 7th of November. Let's see, which is Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep, a couple Saturdays from now. And it's going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be really late again. Lady in Japan. Lady in Japan, gotta do what we gotta do. It's gonna be 1 p.m. Japan time, which is gonna be like
12 a.m. Eastern.
Yes, yeah, 12, yeah, somewhere 12 or 2, somewhere right around there. I can't remember if it's 6 or 5.
It's 13 hours. They're 13 hours ahead. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So so it'll be 12 a.m. It'll be a good one though. It'll be well worth it. Excited to talk about her role as Quiet, and we can kind of get more into depth now. More than
Quiet, we should say.
Yeah. Quotes. Quiet, huh?
They lied to us. Damn Vettel!
You guys are too much. Oh man, yeah. So we've got a great lineup of interviews, and we've got some more that we're working on as well. So make sure you don't miss that. Quickly, what is everybody up to? Y'all got some videos coming out for us?
Yeah, I mean, right now I've been focusing a lot on Fallout 4 because I'm doing the countdown retrospective. I wanted to do the MGS5 analysis stuff, but that just takes a long time to do, and I just haven't had time lately because of the play.
Yeah, we want you to put all the effort you can into it. So
right, yeah. So and it opens tonight, but hopefully after this weekend I can get to analyzing some MGS5 and talking about the ending and the references and like the Moby Dick stuff, which was such a big hint and the many plot twists that came with Phantom Pain. So yeah, that stuff is coming. I also want to do the Metal Gear lore, which is basically I just talk about the entire series, the whole saga in one video, in one comprehensive video where people can understand the whole story and stuff like that. But for now, I'm gonna focus on Fallout 4 until the play is over. And but yeah, there's a lot of good content coming. Sorry, I've been uploading slowly for the fans out there, but once the play's over, I'll definitely get on it.
No problem. Ronin, what's going on with you?
Actually, yep, we got that coming up this. I want to say Friday. No, not Friday. Saturday. I think it's Friday. Okay. Got the days mixed up. So we'll have the episode of that posted up tomorrow for you guys in the morning. Okay. People have been giving me a lot of requests to do something scary for the month, and I don't want to spoil what it is, but I do have something planned for YouTube videos, probably going to be starting next week.
Okay.
For those that have requested the specific game, you guys just might be in luck. So stay tuned to that. I'll post updates on that over Twitter for you guys that are wondering about that, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see the response to that. Yeah.
Games. What are you? Arkham Knight on PC?
There you go. That's pretty terrifying experience right there. That's pretty
terrific.
Terrifying. No, but like for me, I don't know. When it comes to, because a couple of years ago I played Outlast.
Yeah.
I played that on stream. People wanted to see that because they wanted to see me get scared.
That's a good one.
I may not. Here's the thing. You won't hear me scream or yell or anything else like that, but I can guarantee you I am scared off my ass when I'm playing these games. So don't let that fool you.
Same.
That same thing happens when I play this game on YouTube during the week. So
Oh,
yeah,
man.
just
I
let
did
you
a
guys
playthrough
know.
of Outlast. That game is surprisingly scary, actually.
I've seen
Yeah,
your playthrough.
it is.
That it's really it's a well made game too, and the sequel is really good. And there's
Yeah.
another one coming out with the expansion, I guess. The sequel.
In the expansion of the sequels in the
Yes.
works right now. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what's going on. Last topic before we leave, guys, is me and Ronan talked about last episode doing a play session with the subscribers and some of the audience. We're gonna move that to next week because Young has the play and stuff to worry about this week. But we are gonna do a play session for the fans on NGO. I know a lot of the Metal Gear fans out there want to play a couple rounds of MGO with us. So we're going to make it happen. We'll let you know on Twitter what day we're thinking about doing that and how long and how it'll work. And just to kind of say thank you guys for tuning in every week. So that's it for me. Ronan, say goodbye. Say bye-bye.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to leave this one short, so we will see you next time. You guys have a wonderful day or night, depending on where you are in the world. You all stay classy, stay sharp, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. And Young,
Well,
thanks for coming back, man. It was good to have you.
same, yeah. It's good to be back finally, as
good to be
Brian
back.
says. It's good to be back. John Fallout 4. Anyway, so with that, I would like to, say goodbye to you all. Thank you for tuning in. Again, stay tuned. I'll definitely start uploading faster once I have taken care of my personal business. In the meantime, stay tuned on the Codec. We got a lot of great guests coming up, and it's it's gonna go up from here. We're just gonna keep treading forward. It's gonna be great. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Young out.
See you guys.